WCCO Mornings, an emotionally charged debate over one city's plan to sell pot. Why residents say that the benefit to the city will cost those who live here in the end.
Plus, the reason investigators think a small plane crashed in Winona as the pilot recovers.
Then, the new delay in Faribault for a developer trying to build a data center there.
And there's new concerns over the war with Iran. The latest attacks from both countries amid promises of finding a resolution from the Trump administration. Certainly a lot to get to on this Friday morning. Thank you for joining us for WCCO Mornings. Of course, we're streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm AJ Hilton.
And I'm Susan Elizabeth Littlefield. And for our friend Heather this morning, we're so glad you're with us on this Friday. New this morning, a story to get to right away. A woman has been stabbed in Brooklyn Park. This all happened overnight around 1 a.m.
So police say she was stabbed by her domestic partner at a nearby home on Bethia Lane. Responding officers say a man exited the house when they arrived. He also had injuries. Both went to the hospital for treatment. Brooklyn Park police are still investigating.
Now to the latest from the live desk. Maria Lizignoli joins us now. Maria, things got really emotionally charged last night in Osseo over a cannabis dispensary.
Oh, she's not there? Okay, so here's what we know for as far as what last night. Residents spoke for hours, and they were sharing their concerns over plans for a municipal cannabis. As Suze, you mentioned, this is in Osseo. This project, it's been in the work for a few years now, and the store profits, they would go directly back to the city. Residents, though, they're worried that they will be the ones stuck footing the bill with their property taxes. That's if business doesn't go they want, and it's bad.
Food costs so much, everything costs so much. Don't do this. How do you know what we want unless you ask us?
Some of the community members are calling for a vote. If the plan moves forward, the city wants to open the dispensary pretty soon in November.
And just a reminder that we always have your live updates, your live headlines each weekday morning right here on our 24/7 free streaming service. That is CBS News Minnesota.
A major delay for a developer trying to build a data center in Faribault. City leaders announced they are extending the timeline for the developer's environmental review until next March. That's after a judge ruled the initial review didn't adequately address concerns about things like water usage, noise, and pollution. In a statement issued on Thursday, city officials say that the data center is an opportunity to increase and diversify our community's tax base and lessen the burden on residential property owners. But it also recognizes its role in protecting the community.
A man is recovering after crashing his plane last night. This took place in Winona County. The sheriff's office shared this picture of the plane. Investigators think the 62-year-old pilot dealt with engine trouble, tried to make an emergency landing. He was able to get out of the plane. First responders later brought him to the hospital. No one else was on board that plane. Court documents, you got to see this for yourself, are revealing more about a chase that ended like that. A car skidded toward a police officer who jumped out of the way in the nick of time. The Mankato Police Department says that officer is now back on duty, and the driver is now dealing with some serious charges, as you would imagine. Those charges say the driver was going more than 120 miles per hour, trying to escape Tuesday night. He eventually rear-ended another car, and that sent it straight toward Officer Maxwell Strong, who, watch again here. You notice what he had to do? He had to jump over the guardrail to avoid getting hit. We also understand there was a standoff before a deputy used a taser to take the wanted man into custody. That's just crazy circumstances, and glad that everyone, for the most part, is okay. Wow.
It really looks like a movie scene.
Well, this morning, fresh concerns the U.S. war with Iran could escalate even further.
Yeah, a lot going on there. CBS News' Jared Hill tells us Iran launched missiles at the U.S. targeting the Persian Gulf. This after American forces pounded Iranian targets with 2 rounds of strikes earlier this week.
Major escalations between the U.S. and Iran this week, but an American official says the Trump administration is committed to finding a resolution. The Pentagon says it hit about 170 targets after 2 rounds of strikes. President Trump describing this as retribution for Iran's attacks on 3 commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz this week.
When they hit, we hit back much harder.
U.S. Central Command says the strikes were meant to degrade Iran's ability to threaten the critical waterway. Iran has claimed control. Traffic now slowed significantly. Iran has labeled the U.S. strikes a grave war crime, and its forces have launched missiles and drones at U.S. targets in neighboring Arab countries.
This is not
anywhere near an end of the war. This is just entering kind of a new phase.
This all comes as crowds in Iran buried the nation's former supreme leader Thursday, months after he was killed in the war. Some carried a banner reading, "Trump, we will kill you."
I'm #1 on their list.
The conflict has sparked extra security for President Trump. He unexpectedly switched planes for Air Force One during his trip from the NATO summit in Turkey this week, arriving in the new luxury jet gifted from Qatar, but leaving Turkey in an older plane that's equipped with better military defenses and secure communication systems.
This is an aircraft that was spec'd out and prioritized for luxury, not safety.
Sources tell CBS News the Secret Service recommended the change. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Israel says President Trump gave an update to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on U.S. movement into the Gulf during a call between the two leaders yesterday. The White House confirms that call took place, but they haven't gotten into detail.
We understand today the judge in the case of Charlie Kirk's alleged killer is expected to decide if there's enough evidence to move forward with a murder trial. In 23-year-old Tyler Robinson's pretrial hearing, prosecutors played an interview with Robinson's former roommate and romantic partner, describing the moment they first saw each other the day after the shooting of Kirk. In that video, Lance Twigg says, quote, "I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. Started crying a bit, and he said he wishes he hadn't done it." By the way, he still has not entered a plea in that case, Mr. Robinson.
Okay, let's get a check of our next weather with Adam Del Rosa. We are heading into the weekend. So many people planning to be outside. It sounds like it's a little drier.
It is. Only some parts of the state were dealing with storms throughout the week. We haven't really seen too much rain around the Twin Cities, which we need the moisture. We just don't want the flooding like what southeastern Minnesota has been dealing with. But no, the main focus as we head through the next couple of days is going to be the heat and the humidity. It's going to be turning quite uncomfortable and in some cases dangerous yet again. Next Weather Tower is red for this weekend warm up on the way. But yeah, a beautiful morning right now with lots of blue sky out there. If I could get the graphics to advance, not sure what's going on here. Looks like it's stuck. They're gremlins in the system. They took the weekend off already. They decided to pull a Joseph and take the day off. I'm going to step off camera here and go on over and manually click through the graphics here, and hopefully we can get it to work that way. But we're finding temperatures generally in the 50s and 60s this morning here, and they're going to climb pretty quickly with all of that sunshine that we've got on the way. 71 to be exact is where we are in the Twin Cities, already up 3 degrees from our overnight low temperature. Notice winds are calm. Dew points, they're in the mid 60s. Yeah, whenever you have dew points into the upper 60s, certainly into the 70s, that's the stickiness that becomes uncomfortable, and that's what we've got on the way. Alexandria, good morning. We're at 67 degrees, 67 in Marshall. Notice as you head just north and west of Marshall, there have been a couple of showers across the border into eastern parts of the Dakotas. Those have been weakening. I don't think they're going to be able to hold together, but there could be another storm or two that tries to pop up later this afternoon. If that comes to fruition, might have some hail, so just something that we're going to watch out for. Otherwise, yeah, just a mix of sun and clouds on the way today. Temperatures topping off in the mid to upper 80s for our highs, so a little bit warmer than yesterday, but we do have a big warm up on the way. We're going to be talking about high temperatures eventually up into the 90s, mid 90s in some cases. We'll let you know when that gets here coming up in my full forecast.
All right, Adam, sounds like a plan. Let's focus on your next drive for a second. Now, this traffic map, it looks like things are clear right now. However, I will say a crash did just pop up. This looks to be on 94 at Humboldt, and I do want to take you out there right now because it looks like 2 lanes of traffic are blocked out here. So I just asked our crew to make a call to figure out what's going on here. So this looks to be going westbound, so traffic that is headed toward Maple Grove, headed out of town. But you can see here 2 lanes of traffic are blocked. Looks like we do have some first responders there, and it looks like some people, 2 people that are walking in the median there. As far as traffic backup is concerned, let's take one camera back and take a look and see if this is backing up traffic. And yeah, it is. You can see it's backing up traffic. So this is, you see the signs there to go toward 94 westbound. So again, if you are making your way on 694 and you're trying to get to Maple Grove, give yourself a few extra minutes. We're going to make some calls again, figure out what's going on here. As soon as we get an update, we'll make sure to update you. But I also want to just let you know, this is the only thing that we are following on this Friday morning. Really the first crash we've seen backing things up. As soon as we get more info, again, we'll let you know.
Yeah. Well, we do want to let you know about something else, especially if you live on the south side. There's a closure this weekend. Crews are going to close northbound Highway 77 between Interstate 35E and the Minnesota River and Eagan, and all of the ramps in that area. That starts tonight at 9 p.m. It'll go through Monday morning at 5 a.m. Ahead of the closure, starting right now, northbound Highway 77 is going to be reduced to 2 lanes between Diffley Road and the Minnesota River Bridge. So know that part too. Crews are going to be closing the northbound Highway 77 ramps to and from northbound and southbound Highway 13.
Well, we finally made it to Friday. If you are in need of something to do, put your hands up and dance. Absolutely. We got you covered. We got you covered when it comes to For Your Weekend.
We are all over this, and we are finding unique things too. We're not telling you about the humdrum. We're telling you about the cool stuff. I love this. This is giving me nostalgia from the 90s. Heading to the state fairgrounds for the book fair for grown-ups. It's at the grandstand. You'll find 240 bookstores, authors, publishers, makers, hopefully some really cool bookmarks. That's one of my favorite parts. Think the Scholastic Book Fair for adults. You can shop on Saturday from 12 to 7. Tickets are required. They range in price from $18 to $33, depending on how early you want to get in on that. I love that, and it kind of gives me that, we were talking about earlier, the Book It vibes.
Yeah, the Book It vibes for sure.
You know, the Pizza Hut, and it just takes you back.
You said nostalgia. You weren't talking nostalgia about going to the state fair. You were talking about the book, like
I was
the
talking
book,
about the book fair.
The book portion part of it. Like the little freebies you could get too from Scholastic. Remember that? That was all fun.
Absolutely.
That's
I know.
good
You
stuff.
get some new erasers, some pencils. There's lots of things you could get.
It's
But yeah, it's
packed.
cool to go back. And then I suggest you eat at Pizza Hut afterwards. Because you earned your Book It.
You earned your Book It reward. My pick, I'm not going to the library. I'm going to the rodeo. Get that cowboy hat. 46th annual Hamel Rodeo, the bull riding bonanza. It started yesterday, but the grand finale that's going to ride Sunday night, 7:30. There's a parade that's also going to make its way through downtown. That's Sunday at 2 p.m. For the family, Saturday, 1 o'clock is the matinee show. That's where they're going to have free pony rides. They're going to have stick and horse races, a calf scramble. This is different this year. Tickets, you have to buy them online. You cannot buy tickets at the gate this year. This is all run by volunteers too. And you think about the undertaking that it takes to put on a rodeo.
Yeah.
Every year, the 46 years they've been doing this,
It's
that's
a big
pretty cool
deal.
to see. It's a big deal, yeah.
I can smell it now. Have you ever been to one?
So, you know, I grew up in Texas.
Yeah.
We used to go to the rodeo, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
That was.
You know that smell? Yeah.
It is distinct. If you've been to a rodeo, you know exactly what we are talking
It'll
about.
wake you up.
So much fun to do all around the Twin Cities. We're going to have ideas every week for your weekend. You can find more information about these and more about our picks on our website. And again, we're going to have more ideas for your weekend every weekend.
Well, happening today, a special event taking place at Target Field. And no, I'm not talking about the baseball game itself. This is so cool.
The Twins will be there. So too will be All Elite Wrestling for tonight's Brawl at the Ballpark. This morning, we are joined by AEW star Anthony Bowens to tell us more about it. Anthony, I'm curious for you. To be at an event like this in Minneapolis, because we know wrestling is a big deal here, what does it mean for you to be a part of this?
It is always exciting to come back to Minneapolis, especially to perform, especially to wrestle, and also to be a part of something like this. It's the Minnesota Twins. We're doing a collab with All Elite Wrestling tonight at the game, which is super exciting because my two passions in life in general is professional baseball and also professional wrestling. And what an absolutely incredible day we're going to have today. And the cool thing is, for all you fans at home, if you come to the Minnesota Twins game tonight, you automatically get admission to this show. So we encourage you to come out. Check out Twins baseball and also check out All Elite Wrestling, the most elite professional wrestling on the planet, baby.
I love the energy. I love the energy, Anthony. And I mean, AJ, I grew up being a fan. I grew up watching wrestling. You did, obviously. But for anyone out there who says, I don't really know a lot about wrestling, I don't know if I'd be able to follow it, give them your pitch.
Live professional wrestling is unlike anything on the earth. You have, it's sport. it's Hollywood, it's acting, it's stunts, it's all these personalities, it's every genre of entertainment blended into one, and you get that live in front of your face. There's no Hollywood sets, there's no multiple takes, it's all there, it's all action, it's all live right in front of you. So it's probably one of the most exciting forms of entertainment on the planet, and on top of that, you get to see some Minnesota Twins baseball, hopefully get a win tonight. That's a W for AEW. I'm excited, and I think fans should be excited as well.
Anthony, when's the last time you slept?
The last time I slept?
Yeah.
I got a couple hours last night. We've been doing media yesterday, doing a lot of traveling. Our schedule is all over the place, but I'm wide awake, oddly, at this time of morning. Usually I am out cold, but there's so much going on today. I'm actually told the Twins. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's why I asked this question, because I don't think people understand, like, the life of a wrestler. You are on the road. I mean, this is a grind, but it's also a joy when you get a chance to see fans. I know you've talked about that before.
Absolutely. I fly about 200 times a year.
Wow.
So after the show tonight, I have to wake up around 5 in the morning. We have to fly to Roanoke, Virginia for our live show, AEW Collision, which you can find on HBO Max and TNT tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So our lives continue to roll no matter where we go. It's very, very tiring. It's very physical, but it's also very exciting because we get to do cool things like this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And we appreciate you, Anthony. Thank you for what you do. It's just entertaining. It takes people away. It makes a lot of people smile.
It does. It really does.
I love that.
Anthony, thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Well, more and more people say that they want to get up and move out of the United States.
The reason experts believe people want to leave the country, but few actually end up doing it.
Yeah, it's not really what you think.
Hey, welcome back. Want to focus on your next drive. We were talking about this backup over in Brooklyn Center on 694. This was westbound traffic headed out of town. This is a look at some of the backup. Let's take a look at the crash itself to see where things stand this morning. And you can see, yeah, it looks like we've got 2 lanes of traffic that are blocked. It looks like at least 1, 2, 3, at least 3 vehicles involved in this here. So again, still making calls, figuring out what's going on. It looks like traffic right now, it is stopped. It is not moving. This is again 94. This looks to be going westbound, so traffic headed out of town going toward Maple Grove. As soon as we get an update on this, we'll make sure to update you. But again, the backup this morning for our friends who are on 694, this is where it's starting at 252. And now you can see traffic on 694. It's starting to slow down over in Fridley too. So again, give yourself some extra time on this Friday morning. The only crash, big crash that we're following right now. Listen to this. Americans are going abroad in near record numbers, but they're not going on vacation. They're going for the long haul. They're calling this the American Exodus. It's seen about 180,000 American citizens leave the country since last year, 2025. For the first time since the Great Depression, more people are leaving the country compared to people who are entering it. A 2025 Gallup poll found 20% of Americans would like to leave the country permanently, and experts say the move is rarely because of politics.
I think that the economics and the cultural exploration and interests and the social networks really drive a lot of the trends, more so than political concerns do.
While many Americans say they do want to move abroad, a very small percentage actually do. I love this story here. Play-Doh, for 70 years, has been a way for kids to be able to create something, right? Adults now want to get in on the fun, too. There's a collection that's putting the focus on adults. It's called Blooms by Play-Doh, and it's the first Play-Doh line designed specifically for adults. So Blooms allows you to create realistic, you see it here, these are floral arrangements. Each kit will guide you through how to form these flowers. They've got tools you can use to do that. And once you finish, you can preserve and display your bouquet because they've got a new finishing spray as well. You can buy those blooms at Amazon, Target, Walmart, start around $25. But Blooms for adults, looking for something creative? There you go. Leaders over in St. Paul are working to address homeless encampments in the city. We're going to tell you the reason Mayor Cully Herr says something has to be done.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Adam Del Rosa will have your next weather forecast in a second. I want to let you know we are learning some new details about a woman who was stabbed in Brooklyn Park. Police say it happened just before 1 a.m. According to officers, her domestic partner stabbed her at a nearby home on Bethia Lane. When officers got near the home, a man exited. He had several injuries himself. First responders treated both the man and the woman at the nearby hospital. That incident, though, it is still under investigation. Just one crash that we are following. This is going to be up in the Brooklyn Center area. You see those exclamation points on your screen. At one point, traffic was stopped for this crash on 94. This is westbound traffic headed out of town. 2 lanes of traffic are blocked right now, and one lane of traffic is able to get through. Looks like we got an ambulance and first responders on scene here. This is backing up traffic, so if you're coming in from Fridley using 694 to get over to Maple Grove, this is going to impact you. And another crash, it looks like, that's popped up here too. Or actually, maybe just people waiting here. But again, give yourself some extra time. Adam Del Rosa, it's a hot one too.
Yes, it is. Still comfy now, but it's going to be warming up this afternoon. We're starting off right around 70 in the metro. Dew points in the mid 60s, and both our temperatures and our dew points are going to be climbing through the weekend. Just a couple of upper-level cirrus clouds streaming on in from a complex of storms that's been weakening across the eastern Dakotas. Not much to worry about. I think most of us stayed dry, not just today, but all weekend long. Temperatures climbing up to near 90 tomorrow, low 90s on Sunday. We'll have another check of the forecast here in 30 minutes, but we continue to stream on CBS News Minnesota.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, a family suing Target after the wrongful death of their infant daughter, why they say the company could have done more to prevent it.
Plus, the capital city is saying goodbye to encampments. Hear directly from the mayor on what this means for those who are living in them.
Then the number of new affordable housing units now available in South Minneapolis.
And an abandoned home with several surprises. Just how many cats were inside after a neighbor called for help.
7:32 on this Friday morning. We appreciate you for joining us. I'm AJ Hilton.
And I'm Susan Elizabeth Littlefield in for Heather Brown this morning. Let's get right over to a check on your weather because it's Friday, Adam. People want to get outside.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great day to get outside here today and really all weekend long, as long as you don't mind the heat and humidity. It is July after all, but yeah, it's going to be turning a lot more uncomfortable than what it is outside here this morning. In Roseville, Susan reporting 68 degrees. Kathy and Blaine at 65. We've got Margaret and Osceola showing 65 degrees too, and Gary and St. Michael 66. The humidity, everyone's been commenting maybe just a tinge on the humid side, but not nearly as bad as what it's going to be as we head, especially early next week. That's when the core of the heat and humidity are going to be over top of us. Now, through the last week or so, we've had some spotty storms that have been tapping in to all of that moisture, and that's really led to some flooding issues around Austin. 4, 5, 6 inches of rainfall there on Wednesday. Thankfully, they'll get an opportunity to dry up, but everywhere else where we need more rain, yeah, it is not in the forecast at all. There have been some spotty storms and showers across eastern parts of the Dakotas trying to work into far western Minnesota, but you can kind of tell on the satellite and radar here, the trend over the last couple of hours is that, yeah, they haven't been able to survive their trek into Minnesota, but there could be another isolated storm that tries to pop up later this afternoon. There is a marginal threat, level 1 out of 5 threat for some severe hail as you get from Alexandria down toward Wilmer, Marshall, Pipestone, Worthington. But it's only about a 20% chance of seeing any kind of storm activity. So I don't think it's going to be too much to worry about. I think we stay dry here around the Twin Cities, and that's why our focus is on the heat and humidity. 87 degrees our high temperature here this afternoon, 86 in Mankato, even in Bemidji, we'll be topping off in the mid-80s. Tomorrow, even warmer. For 2 reasons. The ridge of high pressure that's building on in is going to be a little bit stronger. That creates sinking air. And just the way the dynamics works, sinking air warms. At the surface, we're also going to see winds turn a little bit more out of the south. That's also going to pull in more heat and humidity. So we're going to get up to about 90 for our high temperature tomorrow under a mostly sunny sky. 88 Mankato, 90 in Marshall. Fargo will be getting up into the mid-90s for our highs. And you can tell that trend continues as we head through the weekend and into early next week, because it's not going to be till Monday and Tuesday when that ridge is at its strongest and we're going to be at our warmest. 92 Sunday, 94 Monday, 95 on Tuesday, and that is going to come with some humidity. It's not going to be as humid as it was that stretch 2 Mondays ago when we had dew points up close to 80. That's really tropical, but with temperatures like this and dew points close to 70, it's still going to make it feel like we're close to the triple digits, if not into the lower triple digits. So we're going to need to take all those precautions to keep cool. I'll step out of the way here, show you next weekend after this one. And you can tell we'll come down a little bit, but it's still going to feel pretty similar, like with temperatures in the 80s. Not many other rain chances in the 7-day forecast, guys. Maybe a stray storm next Thursday. But yeah, the next week, you're going to want to find a way to keep cool and maybe just hang inside the AC or go to a pool.
It's probably some good advice, Adam, really good advice. Let's focus on your next drive because we have had another crash that's popped up. This one is over in St. Paul. We're still following that crash up in Brooklyn Center too. So we'll take a look at both of them. So let's start with this one in St. Paul. This is going to be on 35E. This is southbound and it's off to the shoulder. You see it says right there on the big board, crash ahead on the right shoulder. Let's actually take you to the crash because it is on the right shoulder. So the crash right here is itself. This is again southbound as you are leaving St. Paul. So our friends who are leaving St. Paul going down to Mendota Heights, you will run into this crash. The other incident that I want to bring you to is going to be on the other side of town. That's in Brooklyn Center. And we got some new information on this crash. As you take a look here, the good news is it looks like the crash is off to the side of the road and traffic is moving. So MnDOT, we made a call to MnDOT. MnDOT said this crash, it's actually on southbound 100. There's the exit ramp to get onto 100 there. And it's one vehicle that was blocking the lane, but this was blocking traffic for quite a little bit of time there. It looks like traffic is moving, so hopefully that is able to clear up very soon. And wait, there's more. We have a big road closure for our friends in the South Metro. There's a closure starting tonight. We're talking about the northbound lanes of 77. This is between 35E and the Minnesota River and Egan. All the ramps in the area. It's going to close tonight. It starts at 9 p.m., not going to reopen until 5 a.m. Monday. So right now, the northbound 77 lanes, they're down to 2 lanes. That's between Diffley Road and the Minnesota River Bridge. And crews will close the northbound 77 ramps to and from north and southbound Highway 13 as well. So a big stretch here, and those closures, they start tonight. 2 more daycare owners are pleading guilty to charges in Minnesota's fraud crisis. One of them is the woman you see here, Fahima Mahmoud. Prosecutors say she tried to leave the U.S. 2 days after shutting down her center. The daycare was featured in a viral video in December. This viral video, prosecutors say she pocketed more than $5 million meant to help Minnesota children. And another daycare owner, Jillian Mertens, also pleaded guilty to wire fraud. Both women will be sentenced at a later date.
A Wisconsin family says that Target's lack of action led to the death of their child.
And now they are suing the company after they say that inaction left a deadly hazard in their home. Our Connor White shows us how water beads are at the center of this tragedy.
Esther Jo Beathard died at just 10 months old in July of 2023. An autopsy indicated a single water bead had expanded in her system.
No family should have to experience what we have experienced because of a toy.
Taylor Beathard has advocated for a total ban on water beads, initially marketed as toys that came with sensory kits or craft sets. This week, Beathard and her husband filed a lawsuit against Target in Hennepin County, blaming the Minneapolis-based company for the wrongful death of their infant daughter after they purchased water beads exclusively sold at Target for her older siblings. Her parents say they still don't know how she ingested one.
What Target didn't do is notify consumers that this was a dangerous product.
Faced with complaints stating that Chuckle and Roar water beads were hurting kids, the manufacturer notified Target that they were pulling the product. Target agreed to stop selling them. Court filings show that happened in November of 2022. Esther Jo died about 8 months later. Her death led to the recall of 52,000 Chuckle and Roar water bead sets. Does the family strongly believe that if Target had put out some kind of a warning, had let them know, that Esther Jo might still be alive?
Oh my God, yes. This was a completely preventable tragedy.
A Target spokesperson says they can't comment on litigation, but this isn't the first lawsuit the Beathards filed against the company. The first came last year in the state of New York, where the water beads manufacturer is based. In response to the claim that Target knew the risks but failed to warn customers, the company denied the allegations in their entirety. A judge dismissed the suit against Target in New York based on jurisdiction, leading to the suit's filing here in Minnesota.
We're hoping for justice for the Beathard family.
In a statement, a Target spokesperson says, quote, "We extend our deepest sympathies to those affected by this tragedy, and we worked closely with the manufacturer of the product at the time the incident occurred." Surveillance video captured a Minnesota woman walking away from her home.
And then 2 years later, no one knows where she went next.
That's right. Law enforcement says that they have combed through hundreds of clues, but her family says they're really frustrated with the lack of progress.
As Jason Rantzler reports, they're now looking for leads in a new way.
She is just a beautiful, kind, sweet person.
24 months after Nikki Anderson disappeared without a trace, Autumn Lerke says she's left with no answers and plenty of questions. That's Autumn and her sister Nikki, forever bonded by matching tattoos.
Our mother just passed away on Christmas Day, never finding answers to knowing what happened to her daughter.
Autumn remains convinced Nikki was abducted. Law enforcement executed a search warrant on Nikki's ex-boyfriend's home shortly after her disappearance. Autumn says she's disappointed by the lack of progress in the investigation, so she's hired a private investigator named Tom Tracy.
The information that I received primarily was just by going down and interviewing. I probably interviewed 50 people.
Through Tom's work, Autumn says they have uncovered several new locations to search. Autumn says people have been filling the tip lines with leads.
But as those tips have come in, Autumn says they seem to have fallen on deaf ears.
And most of them feel like they didn't get calls back, or if they did get a call back, their information was dismissed.
It's been a top priority for us in the last 2 years.
But Dakota County Sheriff Joe Lico says there's no evidence Nikki was abducted. He says they've investigated more than 240 tips over the past 2 years.
Those tips are received. They're not falling on deaf ears. We are following up with every single one of them. Some of them lead us to nowhere. Some of them might be a part of the puzzle.
I think they're doing a good job. I just think that they're kind of hesitant to use some of the information I provided.
And Autumn isn't done holding out hope.
Keep her story alive and try to get some answers, and hopefully we can find her this summer.
In Dakota County, Jason Rantala, WCCO News.
The Dakota County Sheriff's Office is offering up to $50,000 for any information. You can call them.
We are hearing directly from St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr. This follows the recent announcement that the city would be closing down homeless encampments.
Yes, a lot of people following this story here. The first encampment is set to be closed at Pig's Eye Park. That's set to happen on August 5th. Then more closures are going to happen on a rolling basis. Mayor Herr says that they have to do something because these conditions in these encampments just are not humane. She says police responded to more than 600 calls in 1 year just at the Pig's Eye Park encampment. According to Mayor Herr, the city isn't going to just clear everything out. They're going to work with individuals and try and get them some help.
Part of that work will be that continue to have conversations with the individuals, but we also set up space in which we will house people's materials. If there are people who care about documents or personal items to them, we have created space here at the city where we hang on to them.
We spoke to a founder of the organization called Walking with a Purpose, which has helped people living in encampments in the past. That person tells us that treatment and help just can't end after a 30-day period. This really has to be going on and on, continuous support. Meanwhile, in South Minneapolis, local leaders celebrated the opening of over 100 affordable housing units. The hope is that it will also open doors for other Minnesotans.
Yeah, this is called Opportunity Crossing. It's a new mixed-use affordable housing development built on the site of the former Wells Fargo branch. You may remember this was destroyed during the unrest of 2020. Leaders say they hope the commercial units in the building will give Minnesotans the ability to open and own their own businesses.
To have commercial spaces that are open for not tenants, but owners, giving business owners the ability to run with a great idea, become an entrepreneur, and then reap the benefit of the work they put in.
Wells Fargo is also reopening its Nicollet Lake branch at Opportunity Crossing. Animal rescue crews found several dozen cats abandoned at a home in Minnesota.
We're going to tell you about their effort to nurse them back to health before they will be up for adoption. A health alert for pet owners after a dangerous disease was discovered in Minnesota dogs. It's called brucellosis. State health officials put out a warning after it was found in dogs brought here mostly from South Dakota. The disease primarily spreads through breeding, but can be transmitted through bodily fluids. It can affect humans, but Minnesota health officials haven't reported any cases of that happening yet. Health officials say that it's treatable in people, but very difficult to treat in dogs. The board requires any infected dogs to be reported and quarantined for life or put down. Experts encourage future pet owners to check health history thoroughly before buying, especially for imported dogs. A concerned neighbor made a call to a Twin Cities animal rescue asking them to check out an abandoned home. When they got there, they found 71 cats living in concerning conditions. This happened in Sibley County. When the Animal Humane Society got there, they were met with extreme filth and bad air quality. The cats didn't have access to water. Many showed signs of respiratory infection, and several had open wounds.
Getting them vaccinated is our top-notch priority. Every single cat will get a medical evaluation, and every single cat will get a behavioral evaluation.
The Animal Humane Society has investigators that cover the entire state of Minnesota. Those investigators made contact with the owner of the abandoned home, and they say they've really been cooperative. Once each of these cats is evaluated, spayed or neutered, they could be yours. Yep, you heard it. They should be going up for adoption sometime in the next few weeks. And we know a lot of people will be excited to check those kitties out. The NBA Summer League has begun for the Wolves. Yep, already, not kidding. They're starting out with a win against the Pelicans with a final score of 105-92. Now, you're going, what's going on? This is early. Well, this is an off-season tournament where coaches can get a closer look at rookies and other prospects. So while you won't see the big names like Anthony Edwards, they still really take these games seriously.
That's our approach is the same no matter what, because we got 4 guys that are on Timberwolves, current team or currently, and then making sure that they're ready for whatever it is.
As for the Wolves' regular season, we don't know the exact schedule yet. We'll get that next month. Okay, time for your bright spot this morning. A special send-off celebration for a Twin Cities teenager. 15-year-old Quinn is battling cancer, and she's about to get a big wish granted. She and her family are headed to Maui next month, thanks to Make-A-Wish Minnesota.
After 2.5 years of treatment, this is like the best thing for our family.
I'm just really excited that we get this opportunity to go, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Girl, you deserve it. Okay, here's a special connection. I love this. Quinn's mom, Courtney, is actually a volunteer for Make-A-Wish. So after helping grant wishes for all these other children, her own daughter is now getting her own wish granted. Let's take a live look outside. Time to check in with next weather meteorologist Adam Del Rosso.
Next weather meteorologist Adam Del Rosso checking in. We're talking about lots of heat and humidity that are making their way back in the forecast. Today going to be a little bit warmer than yesterday, a little more humid as well. We're going to be topping off in the mid to upper 80s in the Twin Cities metro with a mix of sun and clouds. But as we head into the weekend and early next week as well, we're going to be finding those high temperatures back up into the 90s. Keep cool.
Let's check on the roads this morning as people heading to work. You can see mostly green on the maps. We have had a few slowdowns to show you, one being in St. Paul this morning. You can see at 35E southbound Randolph Avenue, things are slow going. The good news is the accident has been cleared, but you see those cones right there? There's construction going on and things are just really slow going there, really in both directions right now. So make some extra time if that's part of your route. As always, we want to continue to keep you up to date on the latest news and weather developments all day right here on the stream, as we call it. We're going to be back with more news and headlines after the break. Live from downtown Minneapolis, you're watching WCCO.
watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good morning. We're so glad you're joining us. I'm Susan Elizabeth Littlefield. Adam Del Rosso is going to have your next weather forecast in just a moment. But first this morning, a man is recovering after crashing his plane in Winona. Yeah, he survived. The sheriff's office shared this picture of the plane yesterday. Investigators think that the 62-year-old pilot was dealing with engine trouble and tried to make an emergency landing. He was able to get out of the plane and first responders brought him to the hospital. No one else was on board. Okay, we're going to look at the roads right now. You can see most things are moving smoothly this morning. We've had a lot of talk about what's going on in St. Paul. Now, there was an accident right there. That's southbound 35E at Randolph Avenue. We are told the accident is actually cleared, but in both directions, it's really slow. If you look closely, you can see those cones. So there is construction going on, slowing things down there. So keep that in mind if you're on the east side this morning.
As smooth sailing in the Weather Center here, we've got a beautiful Friday on the way. Just some upper level clouds moving on in right now. Otherwise, lots of sunshine. A mild start. We're already to 74 degrees in the Twin Cities. Alexandria at 70 degrees right now with that sunshine. We're going to get up into the mid and upper 80s for our highs this afternoon, and the heat and humidity are going to continue to build through the week. Mid 90s by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday. We'll have another check of the forecast coming up here in 30 minutes, but we continue to stream on CBS News Minnesota.
This is WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, Osseo could soon be home to a new cannabis dispensary. The financial concerns from people living there if the business fails. Then, the reason why investigators think a small plane crashed in Winona as the pilot recovers this morning. Plus, the new delay in Faribault for a developer trying to build a data center there. And later, new concerns over the war with Iran. The latest attacks from both countries amid promises of finding a resolution. Good morning. Welcome to WCCO Mornings. We're live on our free streaming channel each weekday on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Maria Lazignoli, and thank you for joining us. New this morning, a woman has been stabbed in Brooklyn Park. It happened just before 1 a.m. Police say she was stabbed by her domestic partner at a nearby home on Bethia Lane. Responding officers say a man left the home when they arrived. He also had several injuries. Both went to the hospital for treatment. Brooklyn Park police are still investigating. A man is recovering after crashing his plane last night in Winona County. The sheriff's office shared this photo of the plane. Investigators think the 62-year-old pilot was dealing with engine trouble and tried to make an emergency landing. He was able to get out of the plane, and then first responders brought him to a hospital. There was no one else on board. Court documents are revealing more about a chase that ended like this. A car skidding toward a police officer who jumped out of the way just in time. The Mankato Police Department says that officer is back on duty. The driver is now dealing with some serious charges. Those charges say he was going more than 120 miles per hour at times while trying to escape Tuesday evening. He eventually rear-ended another car and sent it straight toward Officer Maxwell Strong, who had to jump over the guardrail to avoid getting hit. There was a standoff before a deputy used a taser to take the wanted man into custody. Surveillance video captured a woman from Minnesota walking away from her home. 2 years later, no one knows where she went next. Law enforcement says they've combed through hundreds of clues, but her family is frustrated by the lack of progress. As Jason Rantala reports, they're now looking for leads in a new way.
She is just a beautiful, kind, sweet person.
24 months after Nikki Anderson disappeared without a trace, Autumn Lerke says she's left with no answers and plenty of questions. That's Autumn and her sister Nikki, forever bonded by matching tattoos.
Our mother just passed away on Christmas Day, never finding answers to knowing what happened to her daughter.
Autumn remains convinced Nikki was abducted. Law enforcement executed a search warrant on Nikki's ex-boyfriend's home shortly after her disappearance. Autumn says she's disappointed by the lack of progress in the investigation, so she's hired a private investigator named Tom Tracy.
The information that I received primarily was just by going down and interviewing. I probably interviewed 50 people.
Through Tom's work, Autumn says they have uncovered several new locations to search. Autumn says people have been filling the tip lines with leads.
But as those tips have come in, Autumn says they seem to have fallen on deaf ears.
And most of them feel like they didn't get calls back, or if they did get a call back, their information was dismissed.
It's been a top priority for us in the last 2 years.
But Dakota County Sheriff Joe Lico says there's no evidence Nikki was abducted. He says they've investigated more than 240 tips over the past 2 years.
Those tips are received. They're not falling on deaf ears. We are following up with every single one of them. Some of them lead us to nowhere. Some of them might be a part of the puzzle.
I think they're doing a good job. I just think that they're kind of hesitant to use some of the information I provided.
And Autumn isn't done holding out hope.
Keep her story alive and try to get some answers, and hopefully we can find her this summer.
In Dakota County, Jason Rantala, WCCO News.
The Dakota County Sheriff's Office is offering up to $50,000 as a reward for information. Things got emotionally charged last night in Osseo over a cannabis dispensary. Residents spoke for hours, sharing their concerns over plans for a municipal cannabis dispensary in the city. This project has been in the works now for a few years. The store profits would go back to the city, but residents say they're worried they'll get stuck footing the bill with their property taxes if the business is bad.
Food costs so much, everything costs so much. Don't do this. How do you know what we want unless you ask us?
So some of the community members are calling for a vote. If the plan moves forward, the city wants to open the dispensary this November. A major delay for a developer trying to build a data center in Faribault. City leaders announced they're extending the timeline for the developer's environmental review until next March. That's after a judge ruled the initial review didn't adequately address concerns about things like water usage, noise, and pollution. In a statement Tuesday, city officials say the data center is an opportunity to, quote, increase and diversify our community's tax base and lessen the burden on residential property owners. But it also recognizes its role in protecting our community. One of the Twin Cities' biggest splash pads just opened in Ramsey. And as a new parent, our Jeff Wagner shows us how this one stacks up.
The newest hotspot to cool off is making a splash with families in Ramsey.
Oh yeah, there's lots of chatter about setting up play dates at the splash pad and getting the kids here and out of the house.
It's called the Waterfront, a splash pad spanning more than 12,000 square feet, giving kids plenty of space to run and activate the more than 80 spray nozzles pumping out a steady stream of summer fun. And surrounding it are several shaded spots for watchful eyes to escape the sun.
I think it's beautiful. It's huge. It has a lot of different areas for the kids and a lot of different buttons that each kiddo can push so no one has to fight over the buttons, and a lot of chairs for us parents.
What's unique about this splash pad is it has a designated toddler area. The jets are a little bit calmer, the pace is slower, and you don't have to worry about the big kids sprinting through over here.
So as kids and families are pressing those water features on to be flowing, it creates a small, teeny little creek that flows down into the waterfall and so forth.
The waterfall connects to a series of ponds in the 16-acre park where families can enjoy a Minnesota pastime.
The DNR of Minnesota is stocking this with fish. The DNR donated a pier for us to use. So we see a lot of families out there catching fish already with their kids.
From dropping a line to getting drenched, there's much to soak in at the waterfront.
It's really a destination that you'll want to come to.
A live look outside downtown Minneapolis now. What a great story that was to lead into a hot next weather forecast. Adam Del Rosso joining us now. I'm sure some people have some tips from that.
Yeah, you're going to need to find a way to keep cool, whether that's hanging by the water outside or inside in the AC, because, yes, next weather tower is red, indicating our next warm-up that is on the way. Already at 74 degrees in the Twin Cities. We only got down to about 68 degrees overnight. But I want to point out two other things. Dew points, they're in the mid-60s, and they're going to be climbing. That's the measure of how much moisture there is in the air. When you have dew points into the upper 60s and low 70s, you feel it. It feels uncomfortable. That's what we've got on the way. The other thing, winds, absolutely none at all. It is stagnant out there, and that is, at least whenever you're that warm, you kind of want a little bit of a breeze to give you some relief, help to evaporate some of the sweat. But yeah, that is not really going to be the case here today, so it's going to be quite steamy. We're at 68 in Glencoe right now, 71 in Mankato. Bemidji coming in at 70 this morning. Notice there are some upper level clouds that are working on in. This is from a complex of storms that's been weakening over the last several hours across eastern parts of the Dakotas. We've tried to see a couple of raindrops into far western Minnesota, but yeah, there's nothing that's really been able to survive the trek across the border. So I think most of us stay dry all day long today. However, there could be an isolated storm that tries to pop back up later this afternoon across western Minnesota from Alexandria down toward Marshall, Pipestone, Worthington. This is where we have a marginal threat, or a level 1 out of 5 threat for some hail that might come with some of the stronger storms. It's not going to be a widespread issue. It's going to be very isolated even in those areas, but just something that we want you to be aware of, along with the heat and the humidity. Take a look at this forecast as we head into the afternoon. By lunchtime, we're going to be in the low 80s, mid 80s by the middle of the afternoon, but I think we'll top off right around 87 here in the Twin Cities, which is a few degrees above average, and it's only going to be getting hotter as we head through the weekend and into early next week. We'll let you know where there are some extreme heat watches already in effect and how long this heat plans to stick around. That's coming up in my full forecast in just a few minutes, Maria.
All right, Adam, thanks. The AC in your house and car are going to be working today. As we look at our next drive, you can see that incident there in St. Paul. The actual crash has cleared, but as you can see here on 35E in the southbound lane, it is still backed up. But that's also because of road work. You can see on the sign there that has closed the left lane, but both southbound and northbound lanes do have a lot of traffic in this area. And there's also a closure starting tonight that we want you to be aware of. Crews will close northbound Highway 77 between Interstate 35E and the Minnesota River in Eagan and all ramps in the area. That starts tonight at 9. It reopens 5 a.m. Monday. Ahead of the closure, starting right now, northbound Highway 77 will be reduced to 2 lanes between Diffley Road and the Minnesota River Bridge. And crews will close the northbound Highway 77 ramps to and from northbound and southbound Highway 13. This morning, fresh concerns the U.S. war with Iran could escalate even further. CBS News' Jared Hill tells us Iran launched missiles at U.S. targets in the Persian Gulf. And this is after American forces pounded Iranian targets with 2 rounds of strikes earlier this week.
Major escalations between the U.S. and Iran this week, but an American official says the Trump administration is committed to finding a resolution. The Pentagon says it hit about 170 targets after 2 rounds of strikes. President Trump describing this as retribution for Iran's attacks on 3 commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz this week.
When they hit, we hit back much harder.
U.S. Central Command says the strikes were meant to degrade Iran's ability to threaten the critical waterway. Iran has claimed control. Traffic now slowed significantly. Iran has labeled the U.S. strikes a grave war crime, and its forces have launched missiles and drones at U.S. targets in neighboring Arab countries.
This is not anywhere near an end of the war. This is just entering kind of a new phase.
This all comes as crowds in Iran buried the nation's former supreme leader Thursday, months after he was killed in the war. Some carried a banner reading, "Trump, we will kill you."
I'm number 1 on their list.
The conflict has sparked extra security for President Trump. He unexpectedly switched planes for Air Force One during his trip from the NATO summit in Turkey this week, arriving in the new luxury jet gifted from Qatar, but leaving Turkey in an older plane that's equipped with better military defenses and secure communication systems.
This is an aircraft that was spec'd out and prioritized for luxury, not safety.
Sources tell CBS News the Secret Service recommended the change. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Israel says President Trump gave an update to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on U.S. movements in the Gulf during a call between the 2 leaders yesterday. The White House confirms the call took place, but has not provided further details. Still to come, another big win for Minnesota. The latest honor for Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve after becoming the winningest coach in WNBA history. And later, a Minnesota women's football team goes for gold. That's next in sports. Fresh off the record for breaking the most wins as a WNBA coach, Cheryl Reeve has more good news to celebrate. The Lynx head coach has been named the 2026 WNBA All-Star coach. This is the 5th time Reeve has been named the All-Star head coach. That All-Star game is set to be played July 25th at 7:30 p.m., taking place at the United Center in Chicago. Our Mike Max has a look at what else is coming up in sports.
Good morning. The Minnesota Twins are hot, but they lost their finale in the series to the Cleveland Guardians yesterday 5-2. Gavin Williams was outstanding for the Guardians as a starting pitcher. Bailey Ober was very good in his rehab return. 5 innings, just 1 run given up. The manager was impressed by Williams. Ober was happy with himself.
Well, 2 things. Number 1, the movement of it, which is elite. And number 2, today, I mean, the execution of it. I mean, I think like you pointed out, I mean, we're no hit through 5, and we really didn't have anything on the barrel.
Yeah, it felt good to be back out there on the mound competing against a division rival. Thought we played a good game today. Their arms looked pretty good and held us in check offensively, but it felt really good to be back out there.
Better news, the struggling Anaheim Los Angeles Angels come to town for 3 this weekend before the All-Star break. Minnesota Timberwolves are in Vegas playing in the summer games. Yesterday, Johan Berenger was impressive. Last year's first-round pick scored 18 points and went over New Orleans 105-92. The head coach of the summer team says these games, they take them serious.
That's our approach is the same no matter what, because we got 4 guys that are on Timberwolves, current team currently, and then making sure that they're ready for whatever it is.
3M got some good news. 3M Open will have 2 big names added as they expected. I guess Max Homa and Jason Day, who played here in 2022, return to the field. It starts a week from Monday. The Minnesota Vixen are a tackle women's football team. Been here since 1999, and on Saturday they will play for the conference championship in Salt Lake. They love this game, and in the middle of it is a 53-year-old veteran by the name of Red Bryant, who loves everything about it. Michelle Brown loves football, anchored the offensive line for the Minnesota Vixen women's team for 20 seasons. Last fall, she joined the Augsburg staff as assistant up at the press box on game days. And spends her summer as an assistant on the Vixen team she used to play for, a collection of athletes that don't just play the game, they play it at a high level, heading to Salt Lake Saturday for the conference championship and having a ball in the process.
All right, hit on 3. 1, 2, 3, hit!
This team has grown since you played.
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
What's happened?
People buying into the concept that women can play tackle football.
The numbers have steadily moved to near 60 players on the roster. So many that are on the team that won't see a lot of playing time, but still enjoy the process.
Our depth is very talented. So even those that aren't maybe getting a ton of reps in offense or defense are starring on special teams for us.
Still playing?
Oh, yeah.
That brings us to the most veteran player on the squad.
Hit! Get into the gap, Kaylee!
Red Bryant is 53 years old. Tried coaching for a season, but came back on the field because of something her late father believed.
My daddy, on his, rest in peace, he said, play it until you don't have the desire. I don't want to do it anymore.
You still love this, don't you?
I love it.
And that's what they look for and have found, a personality profile of a competitor that loves teams.
The first thing I say is, do you have an internal drive? Just something that maybe you've been missing a team environment, because football is the greatest team sport. Hey, last reps on D-line!
It's worked. And it's worked very well this season.
Doing something where somebody said that you can't do it, or why should you do that, or, it fuels you.
This is it. It's a home stretch. Let's go. Okay, let's go.
Vixen on 3. 1, 2, 3. Vixen!
We're back tonight at 6 and 10 on WCCO TV. For CBS News Minnesota, I'm Mike Max, and that is your morning look at sports.
Coming up, another update on the weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then, this camper is getting a little too comfortable. Why a national park is stepping in to stop it. That's coming up. Stay with us.
watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maria Lizignoli. Adam Del Rosso will have your next weather forecast in just a minute. But first, a major delay for a developer trying to build a data center in Faribault. City leaders announced they're extending the timeline for the developer's environmental review until next March. That's after a judge ruled the initial review didn't adequately address concerns about things like water usage, noise, and pollution. In a statement Tuesday, city leaders say the data center is an opportunity to, quote, increase and diversify our community's tax base and lessen the burden on residential property owners, but it also recognizes its role in protecting our community. And today, Lakefront Music Fest in Prior Lake begins. Tickets still available for both tonight and tomorrow, and headliners include Billy Idol and Keith Urban. Let's check out your next drive right now. Things looking pretty okay around the metro. You see that okay there in St. Paul. We'll take you there now because there's still a lot of traffic. Construction season is here. We know it, folks, but here on 35E in the southbound lane, you can see that left lane is closed because of it. Otherwise, you're going to be turning up the AC in your car today, Adam.
Yeah, you are. I wish I had that green okay symbol for the forecast here as well, because we do have a beautiful day on the way. It's just going to be on the warm and muggy side, which I know it is mid-July, but that humidity and the temperatures are going to be climbing increasingly through the weekend and early next week. Outside, just a couple of upper-level cirrus clouds out there. Temperatures at 79 degrees already on the WCCO rooftop. We've been climbing quickly. Dew points are in the 60s, so a little bit on the muggy side, but winds, they are calm. It is stagnant out there. You can see those clouds, especially across central and southern Minnesota. These are coming from a complex of storms across the eastern Dakotas that have been weakening through the morning, and there might be a stray storm that tries to pop back up later this afternoon across western Minnesota, but I think we stay dry. Just going to be hot with temperatures in the mid and upper 80s. We'll have another check of that forecast coming up here in about 30 minutes, but we continue to stream on
This is WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, a family suing Target after the wrongful death of their infant daughter. Why they say the company could have done more to prevent it. Then the capital city is saying goodbye to encampments. Hear directly from the mayor on what this means for those staying there. Plus, an abandoned home with several surprises. Just how many cats were inside after a neighbor called for help. And later, the number of new affordable housing units now available in South Minneapolis. Good morning. Welcome to WCCO Mornings, streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and thank you for joining us. 2 more daycare owners are pleading guilty to charges in Minnesota's fraud crisis. One of them is Fahima Mahamud. Prosecutors say she tried to leave the United States 2 days after shutting down her center. The daycare was featured in a viral video in December. Prosecutors say she pocketed more than $5 million meant to help Minnesota children. Another daycare owner, Jelaine Mertens, also pleaded guilty to wire fraud yesterday. Both women will be sentenced at a later date. A Wisconsin family says Target's lack of action led to the death of their infant child. Now they're suing the company after they say that inaction left a deadly hazard in their home. Our Connor White shows us how water beads are at the center of this tragedy.
Esther Jo Beathard died at just 10 months old in July of 2023. An autopsy indicated a single water bead had expanded in her system.
No family should have to experience what we have experienced because of a toy.
Taylor Beathard has advocated for a total ban on water beads, initially marketed as toys that came with sensory kits or craft sets. This week, Beathard and her husband filed a lawsuit against Target in Hennepin County, blaming the Minneapolis-based company for the wrongful death of their infant daughter after they purchased water beads exclusively sold at Target for her older siblings. Her parents say they still don't know how she ingested one.
What Target didn't do is notify consumers that this was a dangerous product.
Faced with complaints stating that Chuckle and Roar water beads were hurting kids, the manufacturer notified Target that they were pulling the product. Target agreed to stop selling them. Court filings show that happened in November of 2022. Esther Jo died about 8 months later. Her death led to the recall of 52,000 Chuckle and Roar water bead sets. Does the family strongly believe that if Target had put out some kind of a warning, had let them know, that Esther Jo might still be alive?
Oh my God, yes. This was a completely preventable tragedy.
A Target spokesperson says they can't comment on litigation, but this isn't the first lawsuit the Beathards filed against the company. The first came last year in the state of New York, where the water beads manufacturer is based. In response to the claim that Target knew the risks but failed to warn customers, the company denied the allegations in their entirety. A judge dismissed the suit against Target in New York based on jurisdiction, leading to the suit's filing here in Minnesota.
We're hoping for justice for the Beathard family.
In a statement, a Target spokesperson says, quote, "We extend our deepest sympathies to those affected by this tragedy, and we worked closely with the manufacturer of the product at the time the incident occurred." We are hearing directly from St. Paul Mayor Kali Herr following the announcement that the city would be closing down homeless encampments. The first encampment said to be closed is the one at Pig's Eye Park. That's set to happen on August 5th. Then more closures will happen on a rolling basis. Mayor Herr says they have to do something because the conditions of these encampments aren't humane. She also says police responded to more than 600 calls in 1 year at just the Pig's Eye Park encampment. According to Mayor Herr, the city isn't going to just clear everything out. They'll work with individuals and try to connect them with resources.
Part of that work will be that continue to have conversations with the individuals, but we also set up space in which we will house people's materials. If there are people who care about documents or personal items to them, we have created space here at the city where we hang on to them.
We spoke with the founder of the organization Walking with a Purpose, which has helped those living in encampments in the past. He says treatment and help cannot just end after a 30-day period. It needs to be continuous. Meanwhile, in South Minneapolis, local leaders celebrated the opening of more than 100 affordable housing units yesterday. They hope it'll also open doors for Minnesotans. Opportunity Crossing is a new mixed-use affordable housing development. It's built on the site of a former Wells Fargo branch that was destroyed during the 2020 unrest. Leaders say they hope the commercial units in the building will give Minnesotans the ability to open and own their own businesses.
to have commercial spaces that are open for not tenants, but owners, giving business owners the ability to run with a great idea, become an entrepreneur, and then reap the benefit of the work they put in.
Wells Fargo is also reopening its Nicollet Lake branch at Opportunity Crossing. There won't be any happy campers over at Isle Royale National Park for a little while. That's because part of the national park is closing down due to an unwanted camper. This is a wolf running off with some camping gear on the island in Lake Superior. Isle Royale National Park is temporarily closing its 3-mile campground because that wolf is getting way too comfortable with visitors. The wolf has been seen dragging away backpacks, even went inside someone's tent. The campground will close for the rest of the month while park staff work on warding off the wolf. Yeah, I wouldn't want to run into that guy. Here's a live look outside Minneapolis. Adam Del Rosso. Let's have some better weather for camping for sure. Hopefully it's animal free.
I can't guarantee the animal part of the forecast. It depends on what you mean by better. I mean, this is a pretty typical summer forecast here, right? You've got the heat, you've got the humidity. Both of those are going to be on the climb here. Perhaps maybe the 70-degree weather that we had back in June, that would be optimal camping weather. But I would still say that no. This isn't too bad this morning. We're starting off at 74 in the Twin Cities. I shouldn't say that. We started off at 68 degrees. We've already been climbing over the last couple of hours. 72 in Wilmer, 71 Bemidji, Duluth. Good morning. We're at 62 degrees right now. Let's look at the dew points. This is the measure of how much moisture there is in the air. Higher the number, the stickier it feels. And we've already seen these numbers climb a little bit through the morning. We've got a dew point of 65 now in the Twin Cities. Worthington, Mankato, Rochester, all of our dew points right around 70. That's whenever it becomes a lot more tropical out there. And that's the more humid air that's going to continue to work on in through the day today and through the weekend. So you can tell on the dew point tracker here, it is going to stay on the muggy side of things right through the weekend and even into early next week. I know you can't tell that by looking at the graphic because it only goes into Sunday morning, but I promise you it is going to last. This pattern is going to be pretty persistent here, so hopefully you like this summertime weather. Looking off to the west, across western Minnesota, eastern parts of the Dakotas, notice there have been a couple of showers that have tried to make their way into Minnesota. North of Fergus Falls, perhaps a couple of drops reaching the ground right now. But a lot of that activity has been fizzling out. There's not a lot of instability in the atmosphere to maintain that this morning. This afternoon, we're not going to have a whole bunch of instability either, but there might be just enough for a stray storm to pop back up. And if that's the case, if it happens to tap into some of that energy, there could be a storm or two that produce some hail, some severe hail, maybe an inch, inch and a half in diameter. That's why there's this marginal risk. Level 1 out of 5 threat for those severe thunderstorms this afternoon from Alexandria to Wilmer, Marshall, Worthington, Pipestone. We are all included in that threat. But I think most of us stay dry all day long, and that's why we're focusing on the heat and humidity in this forecast. 87 for our high this afternoon in the Twin Cities, 84 in Grand Rapids as well as in Alexandria. Wilmer will be right around 85 with a mix of sun and clouds. Look at the numbers for tomorrow, even higher, right around 90 in the Twin Cities, but you factor in the humidity that's going to be in place, it's going to feel more like the mid-90s, and that climb continues as we head into early next week. In fact, that's when the peak of the ridge is going to be right over top of us here. Whenever you have high pressure aloft, that creates sinking air, and that sinking air warms. But also at the surface, we're going to have a breeze out of the south, and so that's also going to pull in the heat and humidity. So a double whammy here that gets us to 94 for our high temperature on Monday, 95 on Tuesday. So we're going to need to take those precautions to keep cool. Hopefully you have AC, or you have a pool that you can dip in, or if you just want to stay in the shade, if you have to be outside, that's a good idea as well. Drink lots of water, wear light, loose clothing, so that way your body can breathe a little bit here. Notice there will be a little bit of some relief as we head toward the end of the week and into next weekend. But when I say relief, it's still going to be in the mid to upper 80s. So it's still going to be rather warm here. But the other thing, this forecast is very dry, lots of sunshine. So that's going to exacerbate the drought issues that we've got across most of Minnesota. Next chance for maybe a storm or two in the Twin Cities looks to hold off until the tail end of next week once that ridge breaks down a little bit more. But Maria, definitely, I don't want to say the dog days of summer because it's usually late July, early August, but it's going to feel like late July, early August.
It is going to be hot for sure. Adam, thank you so much.
Yep.
Checking out your next drive. This just popped up in Bloomington. MnDOT says that there is a crash on 169 southbound between 494 and Anderson Lakes Parkway. I'm jumping around cameras over here and I can't seem to find where that crash is, but obviously it is not causing any backup here on 169. So just something to be aware of if you are driving around that area. We were following some construction over in St. Paul. And you can see here 35E in the southbound lane and in the northbound even there was some traffic due to a lane closure because of all of this construction that's going on in downtown and around the metro. We know, we're used to it here in Minnesota summers. For small businesses, every dollar counts. Lately, across Minneapolis, too many owners are waking up to find broken windows and stolen cash. Photojournalist Ray Campos and Connor White take us to Misfit Coffee, where thieves got creative to get in.
Across the Twin Cities, coffee shops and bars have all become targets.
We're always just a couple days away from not being in business. That's the reality of running a small business.
Now that growing list includes Misfit Coffee Company.
6 a.m. wake-up call from one of our staff members that the window had a big hole in it and that the cash register was gone.
Owner Marcus Parkansky says the break-in happened early Monday morning.
I was like, they must be a small person. 18 inches by 18 inches with jagged glass. I wouldn't have expected it to be that window. I was not thinking it would be one of our block windows.
He says the burglar made off with a cash register and about $2,500. This is the first time someone has broken into the business itself.
We have a trailer that's been stolen twice, our full coffee truck, generators, all the catalytic converters on our vehicles. It's nothing new. It's happened before. It'll probably happen again.
Parkansky says he'd been following the reports of other neighborhood businesses getting hit.
And then I know like Duck Duck and the Briar and up the street Cup of Java. That was a little while ago, but I was kind of almost anticipating something to happen.
Now he has to take time to make changes he never expected to make.
Just time and effort to now fix this, and then we're talking about maybe doing some security bars over all the windows.
And he's hoping people will continue supporting local businesses that are dealing with the aftermath of these crimes.
When things do happen, it is important that people show up. Our customers have come through. You know, we made that money back in the day, so that's nice.
With photojournalist Ray Campos.
Don't let one bad apple make you think that Minneapolis isn't great, because it is.
Connor White, WCCO News.
Coming up, another update on the weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then, animal rescue crews found several dozen cats in an abandoned home in Minnesota. We'll tell you about their efforts to nurse them back to health before they can be put up for adoption. That's next. 71 cats found living in concerning conditions. A Twin Cities animal rescue saved them from this after getting a call from a neighbor in Sibley County. Frankie McLister spoke with the Golden Valley vet working to nurse them back to health.
Inside one of the nation's leading animal welfare orgs. Recovery in progress.
So on Tuesday, we were able to send a team of people to go collect as many cats as we could possibly collect, and we ended up with 71 coming back here.
Photos show what that rescue looked like. Dr. Sarah Lewis, who's the vice president of veterinary medicine, said that it was a call from a concerned neighbor about a house that had been abandoned.
The conditions that they were living in were pretty substantial in terms of the poor air quality that they had, the uncleanliness that they were living in.
Leaving the mostly adult felines without water. Many showed signs of respiratory infections and had open wounds.
Getting them vaccinated is our top-notch priority. Every single cat will get a medical evaluation, and every single cat will get a behavioral evaluation.
The Animal Humane Society says that they have 2 investigators that cover the entire state of Minnesota. They said that they have made contact with the owner of that abandoned home, and that owner has been quite cooperative.
And know that the day that they arrive here is the day they get the help they need. And that is really uplifting for me. It's why I come to work every day.
Lewis said that upon the intake, crews worked hard to move things around inside to make space. After each gets spayed or neutered, they could be yours.
Probably sometime next week.
Photojournalist Arthur Phillips.
These animals don't have anybody else.
Frankie McLister, WCCO News.
And here's more good news. The rescue team didn't find any dead cats at the scene. The Animal Humane Society hopes to have them up for adoption in the coming weeks. Let's take a live look outside downtown Minneapolis. Next Weather Tower shining red, meaning the temperatures are going up. Let's check in with Next Weather meteorologist Adam Del Rosso.
Next Weather meteorologist Adam Del Rosso checking in on this Friday morning. Get ready to sweat. It is going to be turning uncomfortably hot and humid yet again. This afternoon, not the worst. That's going to be coming Monday and Tuesday of next week. But even still, temperatures quickly climbing through the 60s and 70s this morning. By 11 o'clock, we're going to be right around 80 degrees. High temperatures this afternoon into the upper 80s. Through the weekend, we're going to be finding those highs up into the 90s.
Woo, hot one. Adam, thank you. That crash down in Bloomington, that has cleared, which is great to see. We are still following backups in St. Paul as road work continues on 35E in the southbound lane. Attention Southsiders, there's a closure starting tonight we want you to be aware of. Crews will be closing northbound Highway 77 between Interstate 35E and the Minnesota River in Eagan and all the ramps in the area. That starts tonight at 9 and will reopen Monday morning at 5. Right now, northbound Highway 77 is reduced to 2 lanes between Diffley Road and the Minnesota River Bridge, and crews will close the northbound Highway 77 ramps to and from north and southbound Highway 13. As always, we'll continue to keep you up to date on the latest news, weather developments all day here on the stream. And the Lakefront Music Fest in Prior Lake begins today. Tickets are still available for both nights and today and tomorrow. And headliners include Billy Idol and Keith Urban. Coming up today on Mid-Morning at 9, it could be a potential health risk right in your home. We're finding out about the problems that can arise from open gutters. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back after a quick break.